What's going on, Central Texas? First Alert Meteorologist C.D. Finley here. Welcome back to another episode of Weather Nerds. It's been quite a while since we've been able to do one of these. I went on about a 2-month hiatus there over the summer, so I would call that my summer break, I guess, from doing Weather Nerds. But we are back. There's a lot to cover in the 2 months that we have been gone in terms of Weather Nerds. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure here before we continue on. I want to make sure that my audio is working correctly, so give me 1 second. Okay, it is working. Good. All right. So, let's go ahead and jump straight into it today. Again, it's episode. Wow, words. Episode 16 of Weather Nerds. We have a new special guest. Well, not even really a guest. He's more of a kind of a new addition to our weather team that we want to introduce you to today. Some of you may have already seen him live on air, typically on the 9 o'clock news on the CW channel, as well as maybe kind of throughout a few other shows, as well as the weekend shows. So I know a lot of you had questions about him, so let's go ahead and introduce you to our brand new meteorologist, Brendan Jackson. He joined our weather team back in July, and he's been getting all kinds of trained up on everything that's going on, and we're pretty much getting ready to cut you loose. You got your first weekend shift by yourself coming up here pretty soon. So, yes, welcome everybody. Welcome, Brendan. So, Brendan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you kind of wound up here on our team.
All right, well, I'm originally from, I grew up in New Jersey, but went to high school in Seattle, Washington, so nowhere around here, oddly enough. Ended up going to University of Oklahoma.
Boomer.
C.D. there. I was looking for a job over the summer. Took me a while to get into the broadcast side of meteorology, something I was always into, but just took me a while to actually realize, this broadcast stuff seems kind of fun.
Yeah.
I joined the OU Nightly, the student broadcast thing that OU does, and met CD there, and then come this past summer, I was looking for a job. They had an opening down here. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. Applied, and here I am.
Yeah, there you go. So, Brendan and I, we both went to the University of Oklahoma together. We both studied meteorology. We both have our degrees in meteorology, which is great. One of the things that we really pride ourselves on here at the First Alert Weather Team at Channel 10 is that everybody has a meteorology degree. We're really well-versed in, weather and just science in general. So Brendan's a great addition to the team in that sense. Brendan and I have known each other for probably about a year or two at this point already, since we've started doing nightly. So it just connections happened to work out, and he wound up down here. So Brendan, welcome. We're happy to have you here, not just on the team, but on Weather Nerds today as well. So, and if you haven't seen it already, Brendan's already been kind of helping me out with packages and stuff like that. He's already been crushing it, all those. And one of the packages I want to show you all today here on this episode of Weather Nerds, and he's already laughing because he knows which one it is a package that we did. I think this was last week that we did it. Yeah. It's a package of a story about heat safety, and we took the liberty of baking some cookies, and not necessarily in the traditional sense. We basically took these, and they were, I want to emphasize it with this. These were the safe-to-eat raw cookie dough things that we bought from, Target. They were $2 or $3 at Target, which was honestly fantastic for what we were trying to do. So if you're doing this, with your own raw cookie dough that you baked from scratch at home, wouldn't recommend doing this, otherwise you might get sick. But in our case, this was the safe to eat raw cookie dough. I think our chief meteorologist Brady Taylor may or may not have snuck one of these cookies and ate some. I know you had one too. I pansied out and I didn't eat one. But if you don't know what I'm talking about already, this is the heat safety package that we did about car heat safety, how hot it can get inside of cars, and so we showed how hot it can get inside by basically baking these cookies inside the car. So let's go ahead and jump straight to this package here, and let's see what we have to say here. Hey everybody, I'm First Alert Meteorologist C.D. Finley here with
First Alert Meteorologist Brendan Jackson.
And today we are here to show you how to bake some cookies, but not necessarily in the way that you might think.
We're doing this in a way that might make you rethink heat safety.
That's right. Today we are baking these cookies inside of our First Alert Weather Explorer. These cookies have actually already been sitting outside for quite a while, and they've gotten a lot flatter since you last saw them inside the studio on the cooktop. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave these on the dash, let them cook for a few hours, and we'll kind of see how they turn out here in just a few short hours.
On a 100-degree day, temperatures can easily rise up to about 120 degrees inside a car after just 10 minutes. After an hour, all the way up to about 145. So right now, our First Alert weather app is showing 90 degrees, and our thermometer that's been sitting out here in the car for a couple minutes, already at about 120. Now, cars heat up like this because the glass on the windows allows a lot of heat in, but doesn't let most of it out, similar to the greenhouse effect in the atmosphere.
And the temperature only continued to rise from here. Starting around noon at 150 degrees inside the car, that turned to nearly 170 degrees about 2 hours later. And we couldn't finish recording the time lapse because even the GoPro inside the car got too hot. But time lapse or not, the cookies are ready. Here's what they look like before and now after. And as you can see, the cookies have come out pretty much fully baked. I mean, I can hold one up right here in front of you and see how it is almost pretty much completely solid. Got a little bit of a gooey on the inside too, but I wouldn't recommend, eating these cookies, especially since they've been sitting inside of a car for about 5 hours at this point. Just like I wouldn't recommend, leaving your kids or pets. In fact, never do that. If you can bake cookies inside of a car, definitely don't want to be leaving kids or pets unattended in hot vehicles during the summer. Other heat safety tips: drink plenty of water before and during activities, take frequent breaks in the shade or air conditioning, and make sure you're wearing light colored and loose fitting clothing to make sure you're staying nice and cool. Those are pretty much mainstays here in the Central Texas summer. So for now, that has been First Alert Meteorologist C.D. Finley, as well as Brendan Jackson, reporting for KWTX. So yeah, there's our story about the cookies that we baked inside of our First Alert Weather Explorer. You can see that they didn't quite turn out cookie shaped. They were a little bit more cookie cake like. We didn't really. I mean, if you saw the first clip where we had I think we had a row of 3 with 4 cookies in each row, and they were all really tiny at first, and then. Yeah, they all just kind of expanded in one giant cookie
together,
cake. Yeah, they just kind of
stayed separated.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it was really cool to see how that all worked, though. I mean, it got really hot in that car that day, and keep in mind, this summer has been one of the cooler ones that we've seen so far in Central Texas this year. We've only had, as of yesterday, 5 100-degree days so far, and we average. And I think I'm correct on this. I might have to go back and look at it. But if I remember correctly, we average about 24 100-degree days every single year on average. So, 5 compared to 24, definitely a lot cooler for this year, which, I mean, we'll take it. But the fact that it is still as cool as it has been, relatively cool anyway, and you're still able to bake cookies inside of a car in Central Texas heat on a below average year in terms of temperatures, that's saying something. It's hot out here. And I think, if I remember correctly from what I heard in the package, the hottest we saw it get in that car was around 2 o'clock, and it was about 170 degrees inside the car. Oh, yeah. So it was bad. Yeah, it was baking in there.
Our heads in the door was.
Oh yeah, no, and we both poor Brendan. He didn't have a station polo yet, and so we were both wearing our full-on suit minus the jacket and the tie and stuff, just to make sure we were staying cool. Yeah, so it was hot.
Well, it was hot. It was real hot.
Sorry if I'm pausing. There's a voice that came in behind me on a radio, so I was making sure that there wasn't someone talking to us. I was like, what on earth? A little jump scare. Anyway, so that was the story that Brendan and I both did. We also had a news story that came out yesterday. This one, I kind of knocked this one out by myself really quickly because it was all just a whole bunch of video that I was talking over, essentially. But this one was actually an explainer on dust devils and how dust devils work. Have you ever seen a dust devil ever?
I've seen a couple like brief spin ups on the side of the road, just like a cornfield driving through Kansas or something. Cause, I drive from Washington to Oklahoma every single time, and going to school. So I'd see a decent amount of them just on the side of the road there.
Yeah.
But I mean nothing like some of the ones in the package you did, or specifically one.
One of them you'll see.
That effect. Just a few little I see something kind of.
Yeah, just a little quick spin
column
up.
of dust going. About 5 feet in the air.
What I was going to say, did you ever pass through Wyoming on your way from Washington? I want to say, I hear that Wyoming is pretty prime area for dust devils.
Oh, yeah, there are probably some in there down off I-80.
Yeah.
It's pretty, there's a good portion of going along I-80 where it's real flat.
Yeah.
And, that's I probably saw one or two there, I just don't remember.
Yeah, well, we definitely see our fair share of dust devils here in Central Texas, too. One of the videos you'll see in this story actually was from Central Texas. It was from Nolanville, which is right in between Killeen and Temple, if you don't know where that is. And it was actually a viewer that submitted this video to us. So, yeah, let's go ahead and jump straight into this dust devil video here and kind of show you not only what a dust devil can do and what they look like, but how they form and essentially what they are. This video was submitted to KWTX by Ashley Miller in Nolanville, Texas. The video appears to show a dust devil quickly spinning up in the street and knocking over some garbage cans. And check this video out. A dust devil spun up in the middle of a Little League baseball game in Florida, catching this unsuspecting catcher by surprise. With videos like this making the rounds on the internet, many people may be wondering, what exactly is a dust devil, and why do they seem to appear out of thin air? Dust devils begin at the Earth's surface, unlike their very distant cousin tornadoes, which form at the base of a convective thunderstorm. Dust devils are quite different, as they begin as a column of rising warm air. This typically occurs on a clear day with little to no wind, which allows the sun to warm the surface. This creates an area of low pressure, thus accelerating the rising air. As the area of low pressure develops, air rushes in, attempting to balance the air pressure, and this creates the circulation. Then the circulation becomes self-sustaining and picks up dust, dirt, and debris, creating the dust devil as we know it. This process ends when the cooler air surrounding the circulation is picked up, which then cuts off the circulation and it ends the dust devil cycle. So next time your trash cans get blown away on a bright and sunny day, now you know, it might have been a dust devil. Reporting for KWTX, I'm First Alert Meteorologist C.D. Finley. Man, that poor catcher. It gets me all the time. The catcher is completely taken by surprise, and then all of a sudden hats are flying everywhere. Yeah, that
it's 7U baseball. Imagine that. You're just sitting back there behind the plate, and all of a sudden,
yoink!
Oh, surrounded by infield dirt. Okay.
Well, the field has become me. That catcher was the low pressure center that day. So yeah, that's just a little bit about how dust devils form, how they're different from tornadoes, and just their overall cycle of the life cycle of a dust devil. You never ran into any dust devils while you're, because one thing you'll find out, I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, one thing you'll learn about Brendan is that he actually did play, was it JUCO baseball? Yeah. So he has his fair share of time in the baseball world, but yeah, you never played catcher and got
never ran into one of those. It would have been pretty funny if I did. I'm not gonna lie. But no, sadly no. My baseball career, if you want to call it a career, and my meteorology career never crossed paths like that.
Yeah. I guess that would be a good thing.
Yeah, probably is.
Which is surprisingly enough, because he also played for the OU club baseball team, and of course Oklahoma gets all kinds of crazy weather. So it's a wonder that you didn't have your
especially in spring, because season for club was in spring, same as the actual baseball season. But no, we didn't really have any any interesting weather events during it. We barely had any games even canceled. Yeah.
Well, if you want to know more about those stories that we just showed you, we have articles up on our website. Unfortunately, I did not think ahead of time and put them in here, but I do have our website right here to show you. It's kwtx.com, and if you go in here and look in the search bar, you should. Let's see if we can find it here. Dust Devil. No, except it's not going to let me type in it for some reason. So that might be a problem. But if you go to the search bar, you should be able to look up any of our news stories and find them there. We have an article up about the dust devils, so if you want more details on how a dust devil actually forms, what conditions are required for a dust devil to form, things like that, you can go to our kwtx.com website and look up the article there. I think I also even went into a little bit more detail about dust devils on other planets like Mars, and other names that dust devils have around the not just the nation but across the world. One of my favorites, and try not to laugh at this one, Australians call them Willy Willies, so that's a fantastic name. But anyway, So, yeah, you can check that article out. We also have an article up about the heat safety. So if you want to go look that one up as well, we have more details on that about, our experiment with the cookies, about how hot it can actually get inside of cars during a Central Texas summer or just a summer in general. So feel free to check those out. Also, if you would like to check out our About Us page and learn a little bit more about some of the new faces that we are, or that you may be seeing here across KWTX in general, you can go over here on this top left tab here, scroll down a little bit, and you should come across... Well, except I'm not seeing it and it's not letting me scroll. Hang on one moment. Oh, weird. Yeah, this thing does not like my computer for whatever reason. But if you scroll down a little bit more, you should be able to see the About Us tab on this little top left thing right here. And that should bring you to a page with all of our bios, our headshots on it. And you can learn a little bit more about me, Brendan, whoever else you're curious about on our weather team. Brendan, unfortunately, doesn't have a Facebook page set up yet, but we will eventually have one set up for him soon, I would imagine. So
hopefully today or tomorrow.
We'll probably we'll have some free time today, so we can probably work on getting that set up for him. But so eventually a Facebook page will be up for Brendan, and you can go follow him over there. And if you haven't followed me already yet, I have a Facebook page at C.D. Finley KWTX, and feel free to follow any of our other members of our weather team or KWTX in general as well. Brady, our chief meteorologist, Brady Taylor, has one. And for those of you who haven't heard yet, Jillian and Camille are still on the team. I know a lot of people have had questions about that. Everybody's just been kind of switching roles and stuff like that. So if you haven't heard already, she's been doing this for a few months now, I believe, already. But our first alert meteorologist, Camille Hawksworth, she's doing the morning news on the weekends. So you can catch her on Saturday and Sunday mornings. And then our other first alert meteorologist, Jillian Johnson, she is actually directly overhead our Weather Extra segment now. So she's, producing that and all that kind of stuff. So you may not catch her on newscasts quite as often anymore, but what you can do is go see her on Weather Extra, which airs on the weekends after the 10 p.m. news. So it airs at 10:30 on Sunday nights. So you can go check that out. We also, all the extra content and stuff that you just saw here in this episode of Weather Nerds, all that goes on Weather Extra as well, and plus some other stuff that Jillian's been working on. I think this upcoming episode of Weather Extra is actually going to be about hurricanes, so that'll be an interesting one considering the season that we are in right now. In fact, let's go ahead and, before we wrap up, let's go ahead and take a look at what some of the forecast is calling for. And I'm realizing I need to switch over my max graphics here. Let's see if we can put it up max 2 on all of this. Here we go. Let me bring it up here so that way we can see what's actually going on. So keep in mind we are live on Facebook right now, but this will also be recorded and posted on the Degrees of Science YouTube channel. We'll get more on that in just a moment, but let's go ahead and merge on over here. Again, this is the KWTX Radar Network here as of 11:30 here this morning, and again, you can see on the top part of your screen here in Central Texas, if you're watching live on Facebook, we have some showers that are about to roll through here into Central Texas, and actually, let me see if I can move this forward to where you can actually see said showers. There you go. So right now they're up in the DFW Metroplex, and you can see there's a little bit of an outflow boundary there in front of them too. So these storms might actually be weakening just a little bit as some of those updrafts appear to be collapsing anyway. But those showers might hang on all the way through Central Texas. We'll surely see some more scattered showers here over the course of the next few hours as we head into the afternoon. So if you're watching live on Facebook, this is a little bit more pertinent to you. But if you're watching recorded on YouTube, on the Degrees of Science YouTube channel, not as important for you because this is, probably way past the time that this is uploaded. And of course, we also have a heat advisory running through 7 p.m. this evening. It does not appear that that's been extended, but it does look like it's still in effect for areas along the east of I-35 as well as Bosque County. So if you don't see rain on this Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, it's still going to be quite hot. And again, here's a look at the First Alert Futurecast. You can see how the models are handling that line of showers and thunderstorms up to our north. Looks like they should hold together pretty well by the time they roll through Central Texas. So I would imagine most Central Texans will get a pretty good dousing of rain here heading into Wednesday afternoon and evening, and maybe even into Thursday afternoon as well, as you can see there. So, and if you're watching live on Facebook, we are going to have our first alert meteorologist, Sean Billafury, live at noon on KWTX Channel 10 with Julie Hayes, so he'll have the latest information there as well, if you're live here on Facebook or just on YouTube in general. But of course, the latest update for the tropics, Hurricane Erin still kind of traversing and making that northward turn kind of parallel to the east coast of the United States. It's getting really close to the east coast, but good news is likely not going to see any more than those outer bands there, especially toward North Carolina. Could still see some pretty decent rip currents out there, though. So if you know anybody on the east coast, make sure that they are aware that Erin is not going to directly impact the coast, but will get pretty close to where you may feel some of the impacts of that hurricane. And then, of course, the latest track from the National Hurricane Service actually has Erin intensifying back to major hurricane status, so might be a Category 3 by the time it runs parallel to North Carolina, because I would imagine there's probably some warmer waters out there that'll allow it to intensify a little bit further. So yeah, it'll get a little burst right there before kind of becoming a little more extratropical, and of course in the northern Atlantic might just become those remnants. So nothing changed much there. Of course, we do still have some other areas to note, and it doesn't look like this has been updated in terms of the last tropical wave you see there, because the color does not match the highlight, but we got medium chances at least of development with those two tropical waves, both in the main development region. So one of them at least appears to have a 60% chance, if not a higher chance. And then right now it does say 30% chance on that wave behind it, but you can see that the wave is actually highlighted orange. So it's at least a 40% chance or higher, despite what it says there. So some pretty decent odds of development there in the middle of the Atlantic. Likely to see our next two named storms here sometime soon. And it's a little bit too early to determine where they're heading, but definitely worth keeping an eye on. And of course, the latest numbers from the first alert forecast that our first alert meteorologist Sean Billafury threw together. He's showing these at noon again, if you haven't heard that already. So in about 20-30 minutes now, if you're live on Facebook, and if you're on YouTube, feel free to tune in whenever you like. But again, you can see the scattered rain chances continuing at least through the start of the weekend. And look at that. Next week, that looks quite nice. That's low 90s with maybe even more scattered showers. Not quite as nice if you're planning on attending the, I believe that's the first Baylor football game of the year. That's on. Yeah. So, so if you were planning on doing any outdoor activities, might not be too great if you have scattered showers. But it's going to be feeling like low 90s, which in August, we'll take that. So yeah, that's kind of a wrap-up of the forecast and what's going on. Of course, all of this information is always changing. Weather's always changing. If the weather didn't change, me and Brendan wouldn't have jobs. So if you want the latest, if you want the latest information, feel free to tune in to KWTX at noon. We're also live at 4, 5, and 6, and 9 and 10 in the evenings. 9 o'clock on the CW, Channel 46, and then at 4, 5, and 6, and 10 on Channel 10 as well. And we also have our free First Alert KWTX Weather app. Feel free to download that. Search up KWTX Weather on your Google Play or your Apple App Store. Should have access to all of those there as well. And again, if you haven't tuned into Weather Nerds before, you can see all of our previous episodes on the Degrees of Science YouTube channel. If you go here, you can see that this is the main page of the YouTube channel. Got all of the latest videos up there, including our new Degrees of Science that our chief meteorologist Brady Taylor just sent out. It's about the New World screwworm, and I didn't mean to click on that, but you can see a little bit of a preview of it there. So you can see that, and let me go back before I show too much, because I actually want you to watch the video.
This week's Degrees of Science.
So you can see, preview of that right there. We also have the Dust Devil and the heat packages up there that we showed you here in this episode. And if you go over to videos, you can see all the latest uploads. But if you go over to this little podcast tab right here, you'll be greeted to the Weather Nerds playlist, where you can see all previous episodes. There's a whole playlist right here, all from episode 2 all the way up through episode 15. Those are the ones that are uploaded on the Degrees of Science YouTube channel. And of course, the last episode, episode 15, was about 2 months ago. So we're finally getting back in the swing of things now that we're back to full staff. But so yeah, you can see all previous episodes with the exception of episode 1. Episode 1 was an interesting one, Brendan. I don't think I even got to tell you about it, but we were testing out this new setup, And pretty much the entire time, and I kind of have PTSD from it now because I always have to make sure that it's working. But this microphone that Brendan was using, Chief Meteorologist Brady Taylor was on that one, and the microphone was turned off practically the entire time. So you could hear me, but you couldn't hear Brady, and it was just be his mouth moving the entire time. So that's why that one's not uploaded on YouTube. But we had some technical difficulties there. But anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in for this 16th episode of Weather Nerds. I really hope you have enjoyed it. Again, if you want to watch the previous episodes, this episode will also be uploaded to YouTube sometime later today. And thank you all so much for tuning in. Hope to see you next week for episode 17. Hope you all have a wonderful week ahead.